Hey everyone, it's Chris here, Big Red, welcoming you to another episode of A Journey, a Personal Growth Podcast. I'm super excited you decided to join me today. Today we have a very special guest, a good friend that I met on Instagram. Her name's Monique. She's into health and fitness, and she's going to tell you about her story.
Hi, my name's Monique. I'm from a small town in Michigan. It's called Femville. It has roughly about 1,000 people. I am super passionate about health and fitness and everything involving wellness.
What got you into that? Like, what was the beginning stages of your passion for health and fitness?
It started back in high school because all of my friends were super involved in sports and I wasn't. I was a little awkward and wasn't naturally athletic. Right. And seeing all my friends involved in that sort of stuff, and it kind of made me feel insecure because I wasn't, and I didn't look the way they did. I mean, I was never overweight or anything by any means, but I wasn't fit or in shape the way that they were. So once I got into college, I did not want to gain the freshman 15, the dreaded weight gain that happened. So I really researched and just dove into learning all about health and what kind of foods I needed to be eating, and started working out. And I mean, it was a lot of trial and error. It wasn't easy by any means, but over the years, I've kind of figured out what works for me, and I've developed a passion for it and want to inspire others.
So kind of thinking almost, let's just say the last 5 years. So since you've taken on this passion and hobby, like how has it changed you as a person, or has it even changed you as a person?
It's definitely changed me a lot because, I used to be super insecure and not confident at all. I'm pretty reserved and shy, and creating a passion out of this it makes you vulnerable, putting yourself out there and really trying, not just with sharing it, but just trying yourself, trying new workout routines and new eating regimens. You're really just putting yourself out there and being vulnerable, and that pulled me out of my shell because I was out of my comfort zone. So it made me a lot more outgoing and a lot more confident in who I was as in an individual.
So like, if you would have asked yourself 3 years ago, would you ever be on a podcast? Would you think you would ever be, and 2, would you think you'd be comfortable enough to even do that?
No, not at all. I couldn't even give a public speaking class in front of like 15 people. Right. I would have had anxiety about being on a podcast. I would have been up all night, but I'm like, whatever. What do I got to lose? It's fun, and why not?
For me, growing up I was in a small town as well. In the town that I was in, everything was kind of proper, and no one talked about their issues or their problems, and everyone just had that pre-decided path, and that's something that I had to overcome later in my adult years. And for me, it was finding my passion that allowed me to overcome that stigma that, like, I'm not in this box that I was raised in. And for you'd mentioned that you grew up in a small town, and I'm just kind of wondering, like, when you were growing up, was there that same kind of thing where people assumed your future almost, and they kind of expected you to do a certain thing?
Yeah, definitely. Pretty much everybody from my town either goes on to college, or if not, they find a job near home. But for me, I don't think that anybody ever saw it coming that I would be so passionate about health and fitness, especially because I wasn't very active in sports or active in anything that took any sort of motivation with athletic wise. And once I actually didn't go to college for nothing to do with fitness. My degree was marketing. And I developed this passion while I was in college, and once I graduated, I decided to get my certification in personal training, and then went on from there. So nobody that I know from my town really does personal training, and nobody that I know does anything with Instagram or social media. So for me to do it, it's definitely not the norm.
So you're kind of on your own, kind of like creating your own path here. And I think the cool thing is, like, so you currently are working in marketing, yeah?
Yeah, yep.
Yeah, so that's pretty interesting, because this kind of is going to give you a good insight into how to market yourself, which is really cool. So your big platform that you're on is right now Instagram, and as I understand, you're kind of working on some other stuff like a blog and things like that. What's your kind of plan forward? Like, how do you plan on expanding, or do you? Or are you just kind of happy where you're at?
No, I definitely plan on expanding. I'm still new to it all, and like you mentioned, I do have a full-time job in marketing, so it's kind of hard for me to figure out the balance yet of the part-time and the full-time, but I am working on my website. I do have a blog coming with that. I'm also working on a free 4-day workout guide, which will be up when my website's up, hopefully by mid-August. And then I'm also working on getting started with macro coaching. I'm not sure if you're familiar with that, but that's just, macro is a form of eating.
So you maybe talk about that a little bit. Like, what is your plan to do that? Like, are you planning on actually taking on clients?
Yes. So macros are where you know, every food is made up of the 3 main macronutrients: carbs, fats, and proteins. And based on your age, your height, your activity level, you know, all of your information and your goals, you get prescribed or a certain macro number. So you'd have this many grams of carbs, this many grams of fats, this many grams of proteins, and you eat that a day. It's a step further than calorie counting. I started doing it over a year ago, and it completely changed the way I view food. I was starting to become a little too obsessive, and I just, you know, like, oh, this food's good and this is bad, and I didn't want to be that way. So I tried macro counting, and it not only has it changed my way of thinking about foods, because you can eat whatever you want. You just learn like what they're actually made up of. And, oh, instead of having this cookie, you know, I would rather have a giant salad, because I could eat more and feel fuller than having this one small cookie. But other days you might want the cookie, and it's fine. So I really enjoyed that, because not only did I see changes with me mentally, but also physically, because it really allowed me to dial in and give my body what it wanted. So yeah, I would like to help others do the same if that's something that they're interested in. So I would just do a coaching with that. It could be if you just want your numbers and then you want to do it on your own, or if you want a 8-week coaching, a 4-week coaching, whatever you want.
Okay, that sounds pretty smart. I didn't realize there was so much to it. Really, you know, to me, it's it. You eat your calories and go to the gym, and it should be good. But obviously, there's a lot more to it. You actually got to break down the nutrients and proteins.
Make sure you're getting the right.
So one thing, like you mentioned, now you've been doing this, you know, maybe not on a social platform, but you've been kind of focusing on yourself for a couple of years. Like, what has been your key to the consistency to not give up? Because I find with what you're doing, you know, come January, everyone is on board at the gym. Then by the end of January, no one is. So like, what makes you different? Like, what has separated you from the pack?
I just found motivation by creating it a habit. I mean, there's definitely times where I'm feeling more motivated than others, but it's just action now. I mean, every morning I get up at 5:30 a.m. and I work out, even if I don't want to. I know that I won't after work, and I know that I feel better if I do. I mean, if I really am dreading it, I'm not going to force myself, because I don't believe in anything like that. But it's truly just creating a habit out of it and just doing it. But seeing the results that I get and knowing how I feel, you know, I feel a lot better when I eat healthy and when I work out than when I lay on the couch all day and don't, you know.
And do you have a schedule to workouts? Like, hey, Mondays legs, Tuesdays this, or do you just kind of go with what you feel like doing?
I have a schedule. I worked my way up to working out 6 days a week. I never do 7 because you need to rest. Sometimes I will only do 5, but over time I've worked my way to 6 days, and I split it by 2 days a week I do legs, then I do a full body, then I do a cardio day, and then the 2 other days are upper body, so arms, shoulders, whatever.
Okay. Now, something I'm always really curious to find out about people are like, if you could give like 2 or 3, pieces of advice, people that are listening at home that like they want to get into fitness, or they've tried to get into fitness and like they either start or they fail, or like advice based on your experience to someone that's looking to start what you're doing.
Definitely, my first tip would be to start out small. So many people want to just jump right into it and are so excited and want to see results so quickly, and that really only leads to burnout. I mean, I don't know that many people that can just dive right in and end up sticking with it. So maybe first by cutting out soda, and maybe commit to the gym only 2 days a week. Don't commit 6 days because that's going to be way too much for you and you're not.
So pace yourself. Just kind of don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Fair enough.
Ease into it. Another thing would be to find an activity that you actually enjoy doing. I know that bodybuilding and, like workouts with weights like that are super popular right now, but hey, if you'd rather do yoga, then do yoga. You got to do something that you enjoy.
I love that you just brought that up, because in my little circle of friends, like, I'm the guy that goes to the gym and I pull out the yoga mat and the skipping rope, and like I'd rather like do like punch the boxing bag, and that's how I get my work, and that's what makes me feel good. So I like the point that you make on that, because it's not always just about getting ripped and lifting weights. So I like that tip of trying to find what you enjoy and just doing that, because then you're actually going to want to do it. Like if you're forcing yourself to do something you don't want to do, like that's going to be really tough.
Right. I, for too long, focused my workouts on strict bodybuilding workouts that you would see on Instagram, or, the ones that are super popular.
Yeah.
And I wish I didn't, because it wasn't for me. I mean, they're good. They're not bad workouts, or it's not a bad way to work out. It's just not what I enjoy. I enjoy adding in more like plyometric movements and more bursts of energy. Like, I love weight training, but I do it more in a circuit style, so that I am not only improving my muscles, but I'm heart and my cardiovascular system as well.
Yeah, I mean, you enjoy it, and I think that's the key.
Right.
Is like, don't just try to do what's popular or cool. Like, actually find something that works for you, and this is actually how you're going to maintain it. So I think that's a pretty cool point to make. So now, if there's anyone listening that says like, oh man, I really want to follow this girl, I want to watch her on a journey, I want to watch her grow, where would they go? Where's the best place to find you?
Well, right now it's Instagram, because I am still working on getting my website up.
Yep.
And my handle is Monique Renee Fit.
Awesome. I'll make sure that I put your Instagram in the show notes so they can find you there. So is there anything that you would like to say to the audience before we close this out?
Just to find what makes you happy. I mean, with working out and everything in life, that's the key to starting your workout journey, and honestly, just the key to living life. So. No,
I love that. Just do you. Don't.
Right.
Exactly.
Don't worry about anyone.
I love that. But I really appreciate your time. I know it was a bit of a struggle getting you on here. We had to try several different methods, but we got it done. I really appreciate your time. You're an all-star. I absolutely love you, and I really hope you have a good night.
Thank you. You too. All
right, guys. I hope you enjoyed today's episode. That was Monique. Don't forget, please, please, please leave a review on iTunes. That means the world to me. Remember, BigRedSays.com. You can find me on Twitter, Think Grow Riches, and also Instagram is BigRedSays. Have a super good night, and I'll see you next podcast with another guest.